Hey Simplifiers, it's Evan, and I've got an incredible story to be able to share with you. You're going to hear from a former Marine who turned his life around, found real estate, and a whole new community that really encouraged him even when things were pretty messy. He's right down the road, and we've gotten a chance to get to know each other the last year or so. I wanted to bring him on in order to share the struggle of getting over substance abuse and overcoming injuries and having some personal things come up, even getting a degree and going, I don't even like that. But being able to press through with resilience and leaning into transparency. So I really believe you're going to love this conversation. Just keep your ears open, keep your heart open, and you're going to be able to walk away with some nuggets, some tools, and tips for your own journey. So enjoy this conversation. Ashley, how's it going, man?
Hey, I'm doing great, Evan. How's it going, man? Good to connect again.
I know, man. So good to see you. Well, we were just chatting just about life and, different things that are going on. And Ashley was like, hey, do you mind if I share my real background? And I was like, actually, yes, let's do it. And, we'll get into business, we'll get into leadership and, transparency, accountability, all that good stuff. But who is Ashley? Who's the myth, the man, the legend?
Today, I own about 40 rental properties, valued around $7 million. We've got a couple million in equity, and I've been doing real estate for 3 years. So in the last 36 months, I built all of this real estate out. A little bit before that, I was obsessed with Bigger Pockets podcast.
Sure.
And David Green, Brandon Turner, and listen to that stuff all the time. And so I was always adamant about getting into real estate. And so I started on this real estate journey after listening to all those podcasts and bought some fix and flip, listened to everything they said on the podcast and just hit the ground running. And then that's kind of where we got to today. And I did a podcast with Pace Morby.
Yeah.
And he had me on a show. He was kind of a mentor to me in a way. I got into his subject to community, which teaches you how to buy houses with no money down, taking over a seller's mortgage payments at 2, 3, 4% interest rates with no money.
Right.
And that has helped me scale to this massive portfolio. And I got a message from Evan, was like, yo, dude, I'm like 10 minutes away. Like, we should connect. Let's grab lunch. And that's how we met, became friends. And so that's kind of got me here. But let's go back just a little bit more before that. I've got 3 kids. I've got an awesome 14-year-old boy, a 12-year-old girl, and an 8-year-old boy that are the world to me.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
So have raised them up and really grateful, thankful for them. And so a little bit before I got into real estate, I was going to college. I got this master's in IT management and realized I don't really like IT. So let's just start a real estate company, not knowing anything about real estate other than what I heard on my AirPods. So now we'll zoom all the way back, like 15, 20 years ago. I grew up in a small town in Buckner, like really smaller town, and then joined the Marine Corps, served in California, Okinawa, Japan, Kuwait, Iraq. Iraq war in 2003, got out into 2004 had some injuries, had a medical discharge. And then from probably like 2005 to 2007, I worked a little bit, but I was just really lost, total mess, to be honest, fresh out of the service where it is very structured environment. So, speaking of like leadership advice, stuff like that, the military is an incredibly structured role, like from the top down. It's just very authoritarian style. And so I came from that to just kind of no authority as a 22-year-old, lost, and
Right.
probably a decent amount of, trauma that was understood at the time in there. And then just, turned to a lot of alcohol, drugs, and spent a lot of years just figuring myself out. And when I was probably 26, 27, I was starting to get myself a little bit more together, met my wife, whom I ended up having 3 kids with. And so from '07 to 2021, I was just a stay-at-home dad. So I still battled like some drugs and alcohol. I had a back surgery, 3 shoulder surgeries, a hand surgery. And so definitely dealing with some different injuries. And at the time, the VA hospitals weren't really taking the best care of the veterans. I love the VA. They take pretty good care of us now, but between a lot of the wars that were happening in the early throughout 2000s, they were so over capacity that they were also over medicating veterans because there was not enough like orthopedics. You couldn't get in to see a back surgeon or a back or a shoulder doctor for months. So they would just, here, take this will help you. And that's how, a lot of people got overprescribed. I got hooked on opiates for a decade, honestly, on Vicodins and Percocets and other things. And so fortunately for over 10 years now, I haven't really done any of that stuff. Haven't taken painkillers in over a decade. I drink a little bit, but not in a lot of excess. And so having an amazing kids made a huge change and impact on my life. And fortunately, I got a decent pension coming out of the service that allowed me to stay at home with the kids, changing probably 10 to 12,000 diapers. I think I did the math one time that I changed over 10,000 diapers. And I will tell you how is that my wife, which we've been divorced about 7 years, it turned out we were better co-parents than a married couple, but we fantastic co-parents. I couldn't ask for a better mother to my kids. But we had our first 2 kids that are 12 and 14 now. They were both in diapers together. And I was getting a bachelor's degree, and I would go to school on Tuesday and Thursday from 7 a.m. until 10 p.m. I was taking 18 hours, 6 courses, 18 hours, only 2 days a week. So I had it stacked so much so that I could get 18 hours in 2 days. And the reason why is because my wife was a CNA at a hospital, and she was working 312s. So she would work Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 12-hour shifts plus 45 minutes each way. So she was gone 13, 14 hours a day throughout the week. And then I was gone for 14 hours, 15 hours a day, the other 2 days a week. So we were both grinding, trying to really, really just go for it. And so how do you maintain that? You just one foot in front of the other, I guess. It was a lot of difficulty. So raising the kids all by myself, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then grinding at school the other 2 days. We would have the weekends together to catch up, which was really nice. And so we got through that. We raised them. We had one more. And then I was at a point where my youngest boy was, I think he was about 4. And I had said to myself, he's going to be starting kindergarten in 2 years, and I can't be a stay-at-home dad anymore if I don't have any kids at the house.
Right.
So it doesn't really count when they're all in school. And I needed some direction. I needed a purpose. I needed something that Ashley Abbott needs to kind of give back to society, community, economically. And I was always intrigued by real estate. So the GI Bill, it pays for all your books, and it pays a stipend for the zip code of the college that you attend. And one of my old superiors was going to a college in San Francisco, Golden Gate University in downtown San Francisco. And he had mentioned that the housing allowance was $4,600 a month at the college in San Francisco, because it apparently is the highest cost of living in the entire United States. So as long as you're going in person to the university and taking full time, then you get your housing allowance. So I looked at it from a logistics standpoint that, hey, I could fly out here for 2 days a week, go to all my master's classes with 9 hours. And so I looked at the course criteria, and I found that I could nonstop flight out for $200 a flight. I could fly every week for $800 a month and then get a $4,600 stipend. So I had my kids would go to their moms on Wednesdays and Thursdays each week, and I would have them Monday, Tuesday, and every other weekend. We would do 50-50. So I worked it out so I would never, ever miss a single day with my kids. And I would fly out at 6 a.m. on a Wednesday, and I would always be back by at least like a Thursday night, or I'd be back by Friday morning by like 7 or 8 a.m. when they would get dropped off. And then I did that for 2 years until my son started kindergarten, and I saved money. I paid off bills, and I would do this red-eye flight round trip to San Francisco, study my butt off in this master's of science and IT management program with the intent to go get some type of IT job. Sure. And then I finally graduated from that, and I decided I don't think I want to do IT. I kind of have this nerdy mentality about myself where I like to read about, like, outer space and technology and, system on chip computers and Raspberry Pis and all kinds of circuitry and probably some video games and different stuff. But
sure,
I realized that was all like hobbyist stuff, and I wasn't ever that into, hey, let me go work in IT. So I woke up one morning and said, I'm going to start this real estate company. And that's how we got to where we were 3 years ago. And
wow.
So I guess I started putting in like some policies and practices. Maybe I've been doing a little of that most of my life, but not realizing. I think I'm an organized chaos of sorts.
Exactly.
Like somehow I get it done, but when you ask me how, I'm like, I don't know.
Oh no.
That's a little bit of background. I know I like flew through that super fast, but I definitely went through a lot of stuff. I did a bunch of therapy. I really believe in self-growth and stuff like that, especially if anybody's got any traumas in their life, no matter where it came from. The more you work through that, the better you're going to be for yourself and the people around you.
That's right.
So that's definitely, I have a strong belief in educating yourself, helping yourself grow. And then leadership wise, just be an example. Like let other people see what you're doing. And the best way to be a leader is to lead by example. And if you're being lazy and not getting things done, it's hard to delegate stuff when somebody doesn't like their leader or their superior.
Yeah.
And so that's probably something I would, recommend to anybody looking for that. Find somebody that motivates you. I believe in mentors, but it needs to be somebody that you think could take you to the next level because you have an appreciation for the way that they live their life. I mean, like all the pillars, family, friends, success, health.
What would you say in the last like three years that's really been, a huge, just like hockey stick growth? I mean, what had been like just some anchors or like just the switch went on and you're like, oh man, this is huge, or these are ways that I've grown, or this is ways that I've been able to go beyond what I thought I could.
So the biggest piece for me is I had learned the BRRRR strategy from Brandon Turner and David Green talking about it all the time on Bigger Pockets. And I did that for my first 12 months doing the real estate. And it's a lot of work renovating all the houses, doing all that stuff. And the cash flow was good until the interest rates jumped up a ton in 2022.
Right.
I mean, they nearly doubled, and it pretty much killed cash flow almost altogether.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was going through different episodes, and I saw this episode. It's episode 527. Here's my advice. Listen to episode 527 of Bigger Pockets with Pace Morby, how I bought 300 doors on seller finance or without my own money. I don't exactly remember the title. And so I listened to that. The episode was, I think, a year old when I had listened to it. But that 100% changed the game for me because I realized that you can buy real estate without having to put a big down payment or any down payment. You can take over a low interest rate. You don't have to go to the bank and get an 8. You can take over their 3. I learned how to find people that are motivated to sell because they need to move to be closer to family, or they got a job of a lifetime opportunity and they don't have time to list for several months and pay commission. And I can just say, hey, I'll come in, take over your payments. We'll even structure payments on your equity. And I bought houses with $1 down, literally $0 down. I say $1, but it was 0. I might have paid
you find
like
the change,
yeah, I probably paid $1,200 in title work, but nothing went to the seller on multiple structures of these. We bought one in Kansas City as well, a really nice turnkey house. And because of the circumstances around it, we were able to buy it on 180 months, 0% interest, $1,000 a month from the seller. We gave the seller $6,000 down cash, and she financed the other $180,000 over 180 months for $1,000 a month. And so in 5 years, I'll only owe $130 on that house because it's all principal every single month paying down. And it's the creative aspect of finance. And I have that finance degree in my bachelor's. Realizing structuring these deals with 0% and the leverage that I'm getting on that and paying down principal incredibly fast, how strong and huge that makes the creative aspect of some of these deals, that it can 10x my returns by accelerating equity pay down, things like that. That was the catalyst of my business that changed things 2 years ago. My first year, we bought 6 to 8 houses maybe. And my second year after I learned that, I bought like 19 more,
There you go.
And here in year 3, we've bought, I think, 60 houses now total. And we're still holding 40 of those. So
there you go. What are your goals for next year? What are you aiming for?
Um, Before I was just trying to keep adding more and more doors, like more numbers,
Right.
but now I am trending towards every deal I look at, how much actual income is this going to produce?
Mhm.
But even more so, how much free time will this create for me?
What a metric. That's so
Right.
good.
Yes. If I buy this, is it going to create more free time for me? At least in the long run, like, is there going to be a big headache here? How long is it going to take to produce free time? Because the greatest measure of wealth is the amount of freedom that you have.
I love it. What are some of those examples of, you were looking at this house, this person, you came across them on either a list or you were reaching out to them and you decided, hey, this is worth it. And then let's do one where it's like, it wasn't worth it. And so you had to say like, no, this doesn't produce the kind of, um, freedom and free time and it doesn't add to your lifestyle.
That happened a couple times this year. So I've bought several bad deals this year because I thought I was leveling up and then I bought some lemons. So I learned I bought one house for $1. I thought, man, this is going to be awesome. It, and it ended up needing torn down. So it's cost me $16,000 now between getting this torn down, excavated, mowing the grass, getting all the utilities cut off. And then I can probably still only sell it for $5,000.
Oh no.
And so that was a bad deal. I had another house. It was a hoarder house and they had so much stuff in there. I couldn't see the foundation very well. Well, I missed a $16,000 foundation problem. And then
Oh,
I didn't have the money to finish the renovations at the time. And while I was waiting for more money to come in, somebody came in, ripped out the furnace, the brand new AC, a bunch of the plumbing and electrical, and I'm upside down 35,000 in that deal even. So there's definitely some major losses, but I'll tell you, those are wins because some of the worst deals you do, you learn lessons that'll make you a lot more money in the future. And I will leave you with this is I have learned that when you have losses like that, don't let them get you down. So here's my thing is to get into the Hall of Fame is one of the best ERAs in the Hall of Fame is like a 303. And that's probably the best of the best. So to be the very, very best, most elite in the entire world, you're still only batting like 3 out of 10.
right.
So that means the best in the world strike out 7 out of 10 times. So you can lose 7 out of 10 times and still be the best in the world. Like just get back to the plate and don't give up on yourself.
Get more reps in. Like when you think, oh, this isn't going to work, or this one time I tried this thing, and it actually, there's the compounding effect that happens when you're able to learn and get better. And the next time you go, and the next time you go, and the next time you go, you're able to have the compound learning that comes alongside of it.
Yeah, the same thing with calling leads or cold calling or door knocking, all of that stuff. It's all numbers, it's repetitions, it's failure. So don't get discouraged. You can definitely persevere if you just keep trying. And no matter how bad your business is doing, you can always dig and work. You can work your way through anything. You put in enough hours, you can work your way through pretty much any problem.
That's right. I'm going to take this from Pace Morby. He's got a great question. If you could go back in time, what would you tell yourself to break through earlier or to go faster?
And I would say believe in yourself because I spent a lot of years in my younger years, in my 20s, and even in my early 30s, not believing in myself, not having any faith in myself, being afraid of failure, that I would be judged, by other people if I failed. And so it took me so long to have enough confidence to go out and just start a business and say, hey, I'm starting a business. Now I could start any business and I don't even care if it fails at all. I passed that, you fail enough times, you don't even care. But for so long in my life, I was terrified of failure and what it would look like and feel like. And so don't be afraid of that. Take action sooner than later.
What kind of deals are you looking for? What kind of opportunities are you looking to, connect with? And what sort of things are you wanting, kind of moving forward?
I'm still buying fix and flip stuff. So I like deferred maintenance houses. I love doing the creative deals, anything with a low interest rate, and they may or may not have equity in them. If it's something complicated, I love like troubleshooting and I like problem solving. So I like the challenge of, if somebody thinks it's not a deal, send it my way and let's figure out how to make it a deal. So, definitely you could send me deals, or you can consult with me. I try and help people whenever I can. If I'm available, I will pick up the phone. I will answer you. Sometimes I get crazy busy, but I try and be available to anybody in the metro or nationwide. But if you're in KC, I'll definitely go walk a deal, or I'll let you know if it's a deal or it's just junk.
It's a huge way to give and to help other people. Are you looking for any investors? Or are you looking for anybody to partner on deals, or maybe it's a W-2 employee, or like, what are those? Are you looking for those types of investors?
So I do procure deals for some W-2 investors that don't have time to be active in real estate all the time. It can be more passive for them. So we have turnkey rentals that we come across. It'd be great for those. We do help procure and sell some of those. I love some investors. I don't have very many partnerships. I own all the one duplex I partnered with a veteran on, but I'm open to some private money partners or equity partnerships to scale. I would definitely be more open to partnering on like an apartment building, something with bigger spreads versus, partnering on like a single family or something. Bigger deals, 100%. You can anybody can reach out to me at info@kchomeoffers.com. That's our wholesaling business, KC Home Offers. And I'm also on Instagram at Ash Buys Homes, ASHBUYSHOMES. And you can reach out to me there, give me your contact info, let me know what you're looking for. And if I have deals, I can always have my team send them your way too. So always open to do a deal or look at one. I mean, this is kind of all I'm about at the time, is real estate and family.
There we go. One last question. How has transparency and accountability shaped your life?
That's a good question. I think transparency is good. Sometimes it's I don't know, too good. I'm really, really speak my mind. So there's times that I will be over disclosure, I guess, about a deal and hurt somebody's feelings. One of my partners, he says that, dude, you just kicked their puppy. It's not, I'm like, I'm sorry, man. If I see something, that needs some constructive criticism, I want you to know what to do to make that a better deal. And I would want the exact same. Like if you knew something that was going to help better me, even if it was a little raw, transparent, for better or worse, I think is always better to really just keep it real, because we're going to help each other grow. Let's grow together. And, when the tides rise, let's rise together. Let's get wealthy together.
Right.
And so I love transparency on both sides of the table. Accountability is great. I love people putting me in my place too. I've got a couple people on my team and I need them to keep me directed sometimes, because I can get a little ADD sometimes and sporadic and bounce around or OCD and on, the wrong thing. So I get shiny object syndrome occasionally. So when it comes to accountability, I usually count on a couple people on my team to make sure that I'm directing myself in the right way to make sure I'm maximizing dollars for the business. And I'm not running my trailer to the dump to dump a trailer load when I could hire somebody else to do that for like $20 an hour.
Yeah.
And I might be able to do a deal that could make me $300 an hour if I wasn't running back and forth to the dump. But I kind of like going to the dump sometimes. It's the accountability piece that, has somebody telling me, start delegating those things. And that's where I reach out to mentors and masterminds, and I listen to people that have already made the mistakes that help teach me how to do a little bit better about time management and stuff like that. Educating, paying for education in the realm that you want to be in is how I get accountability.
That's huge. That's right. Well, Ashley, thank you so much. Honestly, you've been so transparent just about your background. I mean, how you've been able to grow over the last 3 years has been huge to see from 0 to 7 million in portfolio.
Yeah, we did. Well, I'm selling a couple houses right now while we're still being transparent. I've got 4 houses I'm trying to unload that a couple are already rented. We're trying to free up some capital. So we might dip just below that again. But at the moment, legit, I think we're about 7.2. So, but there's nothing wrong with going up and down and riding the waves.
That's right. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Ashley.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Well, the biggest thing that stuck out to me was mentorship, was finding someone who's been where you want to go and who's willing to be able to help you on your journey. So I just want to encourage you to seek out those who've accomplished what you want to do and who are just the people that you want to be around so that you can have their energy too. If you're looking to be able to build more confidence in your interviewing and storytelling, then I've got a free interview success guide I'd love to be able to share with you. It really boils down and condenses the things that's going to be able to help you when you're on a podcast, when you're being interviewed for your book. I'm working with some authors right now, and I just love to be able to hear authors share their stories with passion and enthusiasm. So go ahead and grab the free interview success guide and let me know what you think. Until next time, keep it simple, Saints.